Bottom of the sixth in Colorado, Blue Jays beating up on the Rockies. 10-1 the score there. Rays shutting out the Angels right now. 4-0 in Anaheim. That one in the bottom of the third. Top of the fourth, Dodgers up 2-1 on the Cardinals in L.A. And the Astros and Marlins are tied at 2 apiece. That game in the bottom of the first. A couple of the finals from earlier today. Orioles beat the Phillies 5-1. Giants over the Pirates 4-2. It was the Twins taking out the Tigers 9-4. Cubs over the Reds 6-1. And the Guardians take out the Mets 4-1 with a no-hitter being taken into the ninth inning by Gavin Williams. It was going to be potentially the first no-hitter in 44 years for the team, but Juan Soto homered with one out in the ninth to blow it.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. Hope everybody's having a great day. We got a good show coming your way. We got Isaiah Stanback who's going to join us at 3 o'clock, NFL Network analyst, former Washington Husky. I was going to say Washington State Husky. Washington Husky. Don't make that mistake. And then we've got the latest installment of the Cal Raleigh Show coming up at 5 p.m. today. So stay tuned for all of that. The text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. You guys can weigh in on whatever's on your mind, whatever's happening in your world, in the world of sports. Feel free to lob in your comments.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I think of Isaiah Stanback, I think of the Garfield quarterback that was Isaiah Stanback back in the day when I was coaching at Redmond.
How'd you do against him?
It was ridiculous. Same as I did with against Jake Heap. Jake Heaps.
Don't forget the S.
No, we called him Jake Heap back then.
Yeah. And they both beat up on you guys?
Oh, man, it was ridiculous. But they had so many athletes at Garfield, and I don't know really what was going on with the coaching, but I do remember this. He took off running, and everybody on the offense took a knee at the same time. Like, nobody ran downfield or everything, like you would typically see on, getting blocks and stuff like that. It was just, let's just take a knee and watch Isaiah run for a touchdown. It was like an 80-yard touchdown.
He doesn't need us to help block.
I believe that was the first drive. And, it only got worse from there.
What do you mean you don't know what happened with the coaching? You were the coach.
No, I'm talking about I don't know. It just seemed like at that time that they didn't have a lot of organization going on, and the players were kind of running things and calling just whatever play they wanted. And
I thought you were talking about the coaching on your team.
Well, definitely there was a problem. That goes without saying.
That's
why he ran for 90 yards.
We couldn't stop one guy who didn't have a single blocker for him.
Yeah, I remember the head coach was like, hey, we need to get somebody on that guy. And I was like, we don't have such a person on this team. Sorry.
We're just going to go ahead and assume that's going to happen and do our best.
One of my corners at that time ran like a 5'1", 40, and he was really smart, though, and he actually made up for it a lot. But when it came to situations like that, yeah. So anyway, I bring that up every time we talk to Isaiah Stanback. Maybe I won't this time, but I'm sure he remembers that. He was an amazing high school athlete.
Yeah, I'd like to hear his take on that particular play where everybody just taps out. He's on his own, 1 on 11.
But it was like their little celebration that they did, that like anytime they saw one of their guys and they had so much speed, it's like everybody take a knee and just watch. So
how humiliating to be the other team, to be on the receiving end of that. We got 11 guys and we couldn't stop him.
Or the coach of the other team.
That's right. Meanwhile, Mariners get off to a great start in this series against the White Sox. They beat up on them last night behind an absolute gem from Bryan Woo. And he was dealing. Now he's got an active streak of 22 starts in a row, every start this season where he's pitched at least 6 innings. Last night he goes 7 innings, just 2 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, no walks on 83 pitches, and he was just out there dealing. And it was amazing to watch him work.
The windup in the pitch to Montgomery, swinging a fly ball, shallow down the right field line, in toward the corner, on the run, Domkan zone, reaches out, and he makes the catch. And that's going to retire the side here in the top of the 7th inning. 16 in a row retired by Bryan Woo. Absolutely outstanding. Looks toward the heavens, pats his chest with his hand, walking to the first base dugout. A standing ovation from the crowd here at T-Mobile Park. Woo has been, wow, outstanding. We go to the bottom of the 7th.
What? Woo has been wow.
Love it.
Riz.
Gotta love Rick Riz.
He was, and that the beauty of that is he bounced back after what was an ugly start for him. He still went 6+ in his last start, but he gave up 4 home runs in that game, and he wasn't sharp at all. It just wasn't a good outing for him. So to see him bounce back with a gem like this against a team in the White Sox, who I think Goldie talked about it on the broadcast, like since the All-Star break, they're one of the higher, maybe the highest scoring team, one of the highest scoring teams. Like they've just been piling up runs since the All-Star break. So it's not like record-wise they have not been great, but I'm looking at some of their games, 10 runs, 11, 12, 6, 9, 6, 8. So they're
Zero.
Yeah. I mean, they got away with the one solo shot last night early in the game, and saw Woo just kind of brush that off like, yeah, all right, you got that one. And 2 total hits, no walks, 7 innings of just dominant ball against a team that's been putting up a lot of runs. So great to see. Hopefully it continues tonight with George Kirby out there on the hill. But, man, it's just everybody – it's amazing because he's always around the strike zone. You know he's going to throw majority fastballs, 4-seam fastballs, yet they can't cover it. They can't catch up to it. They're blown away by it. It's like they're just – and Dan Wilson talked about the fastball just kind of setting the tone for this entire start.
This is a good fastball hitting team, but that's Bryan's, that's his strength, and that fastball is we've talked about how special it is, and tonight was the same against a team that can hit, and the 2, the 4, it was all outstanding. I thought he and Cal did a really nice job, game planning, and 7 left-handers, for Woo tonight, with the switch hitters in there. So, I thought he just was able to stick to his game plan, stick to what he does and his strengths, and it really paid off for him tonight.
Yeah, remember we used to have the discussion all the time, like, okay, let's realign the rotation and see, who should be number 1. I mean, I think a number of times last year we had Bryan Woo in there, but absolutely now. I mean, now he's tied for most quality starts in Major League Baseball with 16. Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of what we heard about his fastball from Cal during spring training, how it just looks like it's effortless. It's like it's deceiving. Like the way it explodes out of his hand, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't look like he's throwing it that hard. And it just freaking just disappears to batters.
Yeah. It's just it doesn't. TV's so deceptive, right? We always look we look at the pitch and like, how did you not swing at that, or how is that a strike or a ball? I mean, it's sort of like the NFL where we talk about you don't get a real clear picture of how fast these guys are moving and how much of a true collision there is, like violent collision. TV doesn't give you that. And I think the same is true for baseball when we're looking at what looks like a meatball down the middle of the plate. And how did he not hit it? There's a lot of movement. There's so much spin on the ball. And these guys are ridiculous. I mean, it's just, it's a different world in person versus on TV. And that goes for his fastball, where it looks like, how are these guys? I mean, yeah, he throws hard, but you got guys that throw harder than Woo. But he's just blowing it by guys. They don't see it well. They don't respond to it well when he's on his game. It's just it's fun to watch. It's amazing to watch. And what's amazing is he's been the most durable pitcher they've had. And I keep bringing this up because his story was, he's really good, but man, he's always dealing with an injury. Mm-hmm. There's always, can he get through a full season? Can he give you the innings? He's been the most durable pitcher on the team, and it's not close. I mean, he's 6 innings at least every single start this year.
Yeah, and it's been amazing over the last 3 years. And I mean, we've talked about, okay, who is the ace right now, and it's rotated basically. Almost every week that we talk about it. Guy was the 174th overall pick. in the 2021 NMLB draft. And yeah, it's incredible what they've been able to do just with their pitching in general. But the other thing, man, and you look at what happened offensively. Rosarena goes 0 for, Cal Raleigh goes 0 for, and you end up getting production out of other places that you didn't have to, it typically wouldn't be counting on. I mean, Crawford went 0-4, but you got, Polanco and Canzone kind of stepping up and supporting. So Bryan Woo getting some run support as well. But just amazing what he's doing. And I guess Cal kind of called it, but it was like he always says things so sort of casually about, certain pitchers, like, well, yeah, this and that. And he was like, yeah, it's just easy cheese. And now we're looking at and seeing that. Like you said, I mean, I think that's maybe the main reason, other than the moments like the other night we were all at the game where JP hits the walk-off home run. It was just so much more exciting being there. I feel like when those big moments happen at a football game, it kind of gets lost. TV actually does it better. But, as far as being there and watching, number one, a play like that, or then, watching how quickly that ball gets to the catcher's mitt, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's impressive to see in person, and good for Woo. Again, his last start was not good, and he came out and just dominated last night. He was just absolutely dealing out there, just carving that lineup up. And you heard Dan talk about all the lefties they had in the lineup with lefties and switch hitters and what have you. So he was spectacular. And I think at this point it's pretty clear that, in the hypothetical, the Mariners get to the postseason, everybody's on full rest and everybody's completely healthy.
Yeah.
He's your game one starter. He's your guy. And we started the year with Logan. Logan was the guy. He was the opening day starter. My number 2 was Bryan Woo, but Logan Gilbert was the guy. Well, that's shifted. Bryan Woo would be, all things being equal, full rest, totally healthy. Everybody 1 through 5. You got Miller back. Everybody's good. He's the guy. He's game one.
Yeah, totally agree. And then, who's number 2 right now? Would you pick Kirby or Logan?
I might go Luis right now.
Yeah,
number 2. I mean, his last start was not good, but he's been quietly solid. If you look at him, it doesn't look. All of these guys have taken turns with a bad outing here and there. That's everybody. So that includes him. But you just look at what he's done. He's been pretty darn solid to this point. So yeah, if we're talking about it today, probably Luis. Now, maybe by the end of the season, the answer will change, but it's Woo number 1 without question. And he's one of the things that is interesting in the broadcast, they had Jay Buhner in the booth, and he was talking about Woo, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically saying, praising him and saying they need to look at locking him up in the offseason. Yeah. And I'm wondering at what point, and we'll talk about this more later if we want, but at what point do they start, and maybe they're already behind the scenes, they've got their guys like, look, we can afford 2 of the 4. And I'm just throwing out, maybe they can afford 3, maybe they can afford 1. I don't know what their parameters are, but at what point do they start having those conversations with whether it's Woo, whether it's Gilbert, whether it's Kirby, whoever it is that they feel like we got to keep this guy in the fold? Don't you start knocking on that door now with the agents?
Yeah, I would think so. And that's when the season started. We talked about once Cal signed his deal that it would be Logan Gilbert. But do you think that's changed? Do you think now that it would be Bryan Woo ahead of Logan Gilbert getting a deal, a long-term deal?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they're going to hold the rare injury. I mean, Logan has not been a fragile guy by any stretch. Over 200 innings, led Major League Baseball last year. So I don't think they're worried about any of that. I think it's probably whatever their pecking order was, I would imagine it still is. Yeah. We're just kind of speculating as to, all right, is it going to be 2 of those 4 or 1, 3? I have no idea, but I would hope that they if they haven't, that they're going to start having those conversations soon, right? And just get beyond arbitration years, get them locked in, make that commitment. But we'll see what they do. But outside of him, you saw the offense coming to life out there in a big way, and what a cool moment to see. Gino Suarez go up there and just hit a laser out of the park.
Eugenio Suarez, the pitch on the way, swinging a drive, deep to right field, way back, and goodbye baseball into Edgar's Cantina, right above it, right above the hand-operated scoreboard. There's number 1 for Gino in a Mariners uniform, number 37 on the year. That was a rocket, and it's now the Mariners 3 and the White Sox 1. How about that? Welcome home, Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, he hit it so hard that Riz got the fields mixed up. That was left field that he hit that too. But it was out immediately. And so cool to see that. You just saw, I think there was a sense of relief for some fans out there because his first game he hit that double and he hadn't really done much. And there's the swing and miss that comes with Gino. We're going to see that. But you were waiting for that moment, and it showed up there, and that was huge. And then the other new addition, and Josh Naylor comes up and launches one into right field.
Pitch on the way, swinging a well-hit ball deep to right field. This one is going. Goodbye, baseball. Josh Naylor with a home run. His 13th of the season, second as a Seattle Mariner. The Mariners add 2 more here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's now the Mariners 8 and the White Sox 1. Another home run for the Mariners, their 3rd of the night.
How about that? And he added a couple stolen bases in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
both him and Naylor, right?
Yeah, at one time, Naylor he's got 8 stolen bases with the Mariners. He had 11 total with the Diamondbacks this year. He's played 93 games with the Diamondbacks. He's played 11 games with the Mariners? 11 or 12, and he's got 8 stolen bases. He's just been running like crazy since he got here.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous. And I think, again, I don't know what his speed is. I mean, he looks fine, but I mean, to me, it's more his anticipation and knowledge of the game. And same thing we talk about with Cal, right? He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he knows the game and he knows the pitchers. And I just love that about Naylor, that he's contributing that, because it's sort of not consistent with the way his career has gone at all. Yeah. So just really interesting. But like I said, I love a game like that where, a Rosarena, Cal, and I know that's not good news. A lot of people are going to be speculating more about him going 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's been scuffling for a while now. I mean, July was not good. Yeah. August is off to a really rough start. We can talk more about that, but you're getting these contributions, so it takes the heat off, takes that spotlight off. Whereas if Cal hit this skid a couple of months ago, you're going, oh no, now what do we do? Because nobody was hitting outside of him. Yeah. So now you can have him have this slump, and he'll get out of it at some point. But right now he's not good up there. He seems a bit off. You see some frustration. There's a lot of swing and miss going on. I think he's 1 for 16 in the 4 games this month, and he's got 12 strikeouts. Yeah, that's bad. Let's just call it what it is. It's not good, but saying that is just highlighting what the rest of the lineup is able to do when they're rolling, and the new guys are a part of that, obviously. And Suarez with the home run last night, and Naylor, who's just been rock solid since he got here. I mean, he had a hit in every game. The first 7 games, I believe. He's just playing good defense, stealing bases, and Dan Wilson talking about him after the game, saying Josh Naylor just does it all.
He is a complete player. What he did defensively tonight too was outstanding. And with a bat in his hand, I think it's a good average, has a lot of power, a smart player. And I think the bats he's going to put up for us as we go forward are going to be impressive. And a couple of the defensive plays tonight were equally impressive. And what he does on the bases, he's just a really smart player. He picks his spots, but he picks them very wisely. And he's really shown us a ton since he's gotten here. And it's great to see that he's a leader, a guy that is really has been big for us, not just offensively, but in all areas of the game.
Well, I would say some of it is somewhat surprising. Like, hadn't watched Josh Naylor that much other than looking at highlights and everything, but just what a good baseball player he is. He's made a couple amazing plays over there with tags at first. Yeah. He had a throw.
The one last night where you looked for a second like, oh, did he get hurt? Yeah. He was like kind of slow to get up, but very agile. He doesn't have that build. He doesn't look like a guy who's going to be agile, flexible, stealing bases. He looks, he's not body beautiful, but man, he has done it all.
But he defensively, I don't think I've seen anything get past him. But then, he made the one tag out up the line where he got it, and then there was the other one where he had to get his foot on it, real quick. And you see him make all kinds of plays defensively, and now he's a base stealer.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, all you were looking for was really at first base was power, and same thing with third, power at the corners. And, you know, instead you got a really good football player. We know what Gino is all about, or football player. You got
Probably
a really
good
good
there,
baseball player. So, yeah, I mean, he is amazing. I'm really surprised by the things like that, the athletic plays that he makes in the field, and then, of course, the base stealing ability.
Yeah, 28 years old. I'm really hoping that he enjoys it here. I can't tell if he does. He didn't, even in the home run, he didn't even really smile. So
Yeah.
he's talked about just he's very focused, intense. The mind's always working. Like, well, okay, especially when he's out there. Says he's not chatting up the runner on first. It's not anything, you know, mean or anything. He's out there just thinking, okay, if the ball comes to me, I got to go here, and if it goes there, I got to cover here, and he's just all in. He's just dialed in and focused, and if that's his deal, like I said, as long as his teammates and the coaches and the manager loves him, that's all that matters. And I would love to see him get extended.
Real quick, before we get to take two, I saw, who was it, Kurtz, I think, with the A's that was trying to chat him up, and you could see the camera was on him, and he gave him like a one-word answer, like, no. So
He's like, I got things on my mind, kid.
Yeah.
You save that combo for somebody else.
I don't want to talk to you.
All right, let's take two.
We'll get into this a little bit more at 2:45 when these games go final. But the Yankees and Rangers are going to the ninth right now. New York leads 3-2. They've lost 5 straight. So currently, Mariners have a 1-game lead for the second wild card, but looks like the Yankees might hold on to that. Hey, they have blown a couple saves, though, the past 2 nights against their past couple nights in this losing streak. And then the Red Sox, they've won 7 straight. They play today at 4 o'clock. Astros just started. The Marlins, they have come back. The Astros scored 2 in the top of the first. Marlins have scored 4. They lead 4-2 in the second.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could take one of these games. They had won 8 of 10 coming into this series, 5 in a row, and then the first 2 games, the Astros just put it on them, which is really disappointing. And I'm really hoping to see the Red Sox start to face plant, because that's obnoxious to have them and the Astros winning.
Yeah, they won 9 of their last 10, and you know I think that's why Ian's not allowed in here, right?
Yeah,
I mean we can't have him
keep
in
that
here.
kid away from
Guess
here.
we can bring him back on Monday though. So the Astros and Red Sox play again on Monday. It's gonna be a pretty big series. Interesting to root for there.
Pain.
Yeah, I would say, who do you root for in that situation?
Pain.
You root against the Astros, right?
Failure.
Yeah, you want the division. Division's
Injury.
the priority.
Well,
But
we'll get Ian in here, and you can tell him you're an Astros
and
fan.
I'm not
You're
interested.
a Red Sox fan for 3
Not
days.
interested in his opinion.
In the NFL and in the division, what was a sore back for Matthew Stafford, as at least what the Rams were admitting. Now Ian Rappaport says that is an aggravated disc. So it's officially being called an aggravated disc for Matthew Stafford. He has not participated in any team drills during training camp so far for the Rams.
Interesting. Aggravated disc. I've not heard of that. I've experienced back issues that are debilitating, but it was a herniated disc and bulging discs. I've never heard of aggravated. Maybe that's just a more it's a calmer situation, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know, but you know, back issues are. Ooh.
What comes after aggravated? Like angry? He's got an angry disc.
I got an agitated disc. I don't know.
Matthew Stafford's not going to play in any preseason game as long as he's with the Rams and Sean McVay, so they've got some time there. But yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those where you kind of go, well, unless it's the Astros.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, I don't want anybody getting hurt, except for the Astros.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's tough for him. He's getting older, and you know, for a quarterback, I mean, your back being aggravated, that's one thing I didn't have really a problem with. I know you have, and it's like pretty central. There's no way to get around it.
No, it impacts everything.
Yeah.
So, all right. Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. This position group will be the one to watch tomorrow night for the Seahawks. We'll tell you who that is. Coming up next, it's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
As the calendar flips to August, it's all about the push to the playoffs.
It's on the way, swinging a drive, deep to right field, right above the hand-operated scoreboard. There's number 1 for Gino in a Mariners uniform.
Tonight, Mariners, White Sox.
First pitch at 6:40. Pregame at 5:30.
Every pitch of every game is on Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app, the home of the Mariners.
Hey, it's it's Bob Stelton here, and let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. That's when I went to K2 Vision for RLE. That's Refractive Lens Exchange. Now, Dr. Kopstein started K2 Vision with Dr. King from King LASIK, the most experienced LASIK surgeon in the Northwest. King LASIK plus K2 Vision equals freedom vision for every stage of life. No glasses, no contacts, readers, or cataracts. Now, if you're somebody that struggles with distance vision and now you always need a pair of reading glasses, K2 Vision RLE could be your perfect permanent solution to spending your good active years not needing reading glasses. And here's the cherry on top: you never develop a cataract. Now, if you're somebody like me that had a pair of readers in every room of the home, in your car, you had to bring them into the restaurant with you. Otherwise, like me, you couldn't read the menu. That has all been rectified thanks to RLE. So whether it's LASIK, EVO ICL, or RLE, trust the most experienced team of doctors to recommend what's best for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. That's K2VisionRLE.com.
This is actress Holly Robinson Pete for Eggland's Best. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, make sure you're choosing wholesome ingredients like Eggland's Best Eggs to plus up your nutrition. With more than 6 times the vitamin D and double the omega-3s and vitamin B12 compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best supports a healthy lifestyle. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
Do you find yourself searching the medicine cabinet for pills and sprays during allergy season? How about having to buy one more medication when the season hits? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. We offer a solution that will save you time, money, and frustration. Rynair is a simple, minimally invasive procedure that significantly reduces postnasal drip and stuffiness. We're taking new patients in Federal Way and in Auburn. Come see us. Book your appointment at sternsinus.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready. The James G. Murphy Auction Company presents one of the biggest heavy equipment auctions of the summer. On the auction block, we've got 13 excavators, including a 2018 Komatsu PC 238 USLC-11, a 2015 Komatsu PC 138, and a CAT 308 mini excavator. Also up for auction, a 2020 Komatsu WA 270-8 wheel loader, a 2017 John Deere 317G skid steer, 2 backhoes, and 3 rollers. Looking for trucks? Choose from over 100 options, including a 2017 Kenworth T880 with a wet kit and 4 Vector trucks. And if you're in need of contractor's equipment, we've got a massive assortment for you to choose from. Bidding starts 10 a.m. Thursday the 7th and starts closing at 10 a.m. August 14th. And don't miss your chance to preview all items August 12th through the 13th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville location. For more information, visit murphyauction.com. That's murphyauction.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob
Weekdays 2 to 7.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. You guys can weigh in on whatever's happening in your world, whatever we're talking about, whatever you've got opinions on. Meanwhile, Seahawks get down to it tomorrow. First preseason game happening against the Las Vegas Raiders, who will be coming to town. We will not be seeing any starters, at least not for the Seahawks. I think Pete said his starters will play, right?
No, so there was a pretty big distinction that the Raiders, beat writers had to go.
Didn't they initially say
check.
that?
No, Pete Carroll said, and the Raiders quoted, they will be ready. And then they're like, oh, wait a second. That doesn't necessarily mean play.
Yeah, he said everybody's ready.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're not going to see Geno and Jamal out there.
He's keeping it close to the vest, but
right.
I doubt it.
I guess we'll find out.
It's too bad. I'd like to see Ashton Genty. I don't know, maybe since he's a rookie. I think Grace Abel's going to play some tomorrow. So, but yeah, I'd like to see Max Crosby and Ashton Genty and Jamal
Genty would make
Adams.
sense since he's a young guy. Maybe you don't need to run Jamal out there because he's injury prone. He's a veteran. Same with Crosby. I get that, but I think your rookies you'd want out there at least for a couple series, maybe.
I don't know.
A couple three.
It's kind of interesting because you'd be kind of torn with like the running back position, just that position in general. You're like, I don't know if I want to run my first round running back out there in preseason, just because of the injuries. But yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see some players. Like I said, I think Grace Abel is going to play some. I think Eamon Worry is going to play some. But, yeah, for the most part, you're probably not going to see a lot of those guys. But you know what? I would sell the preseason game on the fact that, maybe you see some hero like Brady Russell last year.
Yeah,
Brady Russell
perhaps.
was really a good player. We talked about Tremaine Pope and players like that. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see some of these backups kind of know what most of the vets can do.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's look. I love football. Preseason gets a little rough, especially when the starters aren't there.
Yeah,
and there's not anything on the line in the way of I got to win this game and what a huge win. It's you're looking at your players and you're running your plays and you're not scheming. This is the tendency of the opposition, and so once you start getting deep into the roster, it gets a little hard.
Yeah,
a little hard to focus on who's out there and how did they look and wait, who was that guy? I hadn't even heard his name. Who's that?
They did like a walkthrough today, and I'm not sure how much they did, but to me it sounded like earlier than I thought that they would look earlier in the week that they would look at the Raiders and just see what kind of scheme they're running, what they're doing offensively.
Yeah,
because usually I just remember it being like a 15-minute meeting before a preseason game. This is what they do. This is what you can expect. It's not like you're sitting there game planning like you would during the regular season.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting though. I mean, just our first look at these guys out there in action, and and I know a lot of people will be watching the O-line, obviously, but what we glean from that, I don't really know what to expect there. But what's interesting about the O-line is, and I've seen this on social media, I've seen it on our text line. There's a lot of belief in Mike McDonald. There's a lot of belief in, what he brings to the table and his vision, if you will, for the team. Yet there seems to be a lack of belief in their ability to evaluate the O-line talent. Because outside of Zabel, they didn't go make a big acquisition, right? There was no big name they brought in here, and people felt like they should have been more aggressive in shoring up the O-line, and we've heard repeatedly from Schneider and McDonald, we like the guys we've got in the building. So it feels like people trust McDonald's vision and Schneider's to a lesser extent, I guess. They trust their vision as a whole, but when it comes to the O-line, I kept seeing, what are these guys doing? They don't have the talent there. These guys aren't any good. They're not going to be. Bradford stinks. This guy stinks. Blah blah blah. So we believe in them when they're talking about these other parts of the team, but when they're talking about the O-line, there's a segment of the fan base that goes, no, they're not good. They don't have the talent. Why didn't they do more?
Yeah,
which is weird.
Well, and I think it also just that's what they think. Now they could be wrong. They might be wrong. Maybe Schneider and McDonald think too much of the scheme, but they feel like last year wasn't the players. It wasn't them. It was the scheme and putting those guys in better positions. And I think it's going to be hard to tell right away. But, again, we talk about some of those short yardage plays that they had last year. A lot of the play calling, like they had to ditch the run game.
Yeah.
A lot of times and just put it in Gino's hands. And, so, yeah, I mean, I think you're right. There is definitely a level of faith if you're going to say, hey, they don't need to go out and get anybody else. I mean, they obviously took a first rounder at guard and, you've got a couple of tackles that you feel really good about. But, no, it's more about, and I asked around and they're like, yeah, we have the talent in this building. So, I mean, I think it really is, and it's going to be hard to tell, like I said, as far as the coaching goes and whether or not, was that a scheme problem? Was he in a bad position, or did he just get beat? And I think a lot of times that you saw our offensive line get beat last year, it was because of scheme.
Yeah.
It's just they put too much pressure on those guys. We talk about the moving pocket now that, helps buy a quarterback a little bit more time, not just a straight drop back and, just their wide zone concept that, gets guys running out on the edge and creates more gaps to run. And then all the stuff that you can, play off of that, like play action pass and things that are just getting set up. Yeah, it felt more and more, and it's not just to sit here and dump all over, the coaches from last year, but it just seemed like there wasn't a plan, and that it was just like, okay, let's call this play, and a lot of times they just, like I said, had to ditch. On 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 last year. I mean, look, after you couldn't pick up the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, throw it.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have more of a chance doing that than moving anybody off that line. So. Yeah, it was. I think that was a pretty big move, going after 1 year firing Grubb, but now it all of a sudden is starting to come clear. But we're going to have to see. We'll see tomorrow. If there's any semblance of like an idea that this is coaching right here. I think that's going to be hard to identify early on.
Yeah, again, because you're not scheming for those guys. So somebody might look bad because you weren't prepared for what this guy does in particular, this spin move, this swim move, this whatever
defense they're playing.
Yeah,
against.
I mean, I think it becomes a really hard evaluation for the fans. So certainly the coaches know what they're looking for, but it does feel like a conditional level of belief in the coaching staff. And Clint Kubiak was talking about the offense and just as a whole, and just talking about obviously they need to be one cohesive unit out there.
And I would go back to Coach McDonald's goal is for us to be connected. That's a really big thing that he harps, and it's a big part of how we meet. And so it's really important that we meet together quite a bit offensively, that we're all on the same page, we're all speaking the same language, we're holding each other accountable together. The quarterback knows the tackle's responsibility, the tight ends know what the receivers' route adjustments are, and so it's being connected is really important for us right now.
I think there's a lot of work put in this year. I think the players are starting to see it, and you won't hear it so much from a guy like Cooper Kupp, who's been around the league for a long time, but just how much they're asking their players to do. They're asking them to, somebody said something about a PhD to run that defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's complicated. There's lots of time spent on that, but the other thing is that, again, Mike McDonald is very blunt, and so if there's a problem, he's going to address it right away. He's not going to sit around and wait. So I think you're going to see things happen quickly in that regard as far as corrections go.
Our coverage of Seahawks training camp is brought to you by the Landing in Renton. The playoff race continues to heat up in the American League. We're going to dive into all of the latest on that coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Seahawks training camp is underway.
That is music of the year.
And nobody gives you more insider access than the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Coach McDonald sitting down with us right now. This thing on and ready for you.
Watch how the Seahawks roster comes together.
Seattle Sports training camp coverage is presented by the Landing in Renton.
Seahawks training camp on Seattle Sports on 710, the Seattle Sports app, and the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Summertime, warm weather, sunshine, that's riding weather, and I have been riding every single day, getting the bike out there, except for today. I'm not about riding in the rain, but pretty much every single day, and a lot of my friends doing the same. And when you're out there on the motorcycle, you assume a different level of risk, obviously, and perhaps you're one of those people listening that's been injured in a motorcycle crash at some point. Here's what you don't do. Don't settle for a firm that says they're motorcycle lawyers. You got to trust the ones who actually live it, and that's Law Tigers. They've been a part of the riding community for nearly a quarter century nationwide, and they are there 24/7, 365 days a year. Why? Because riders deserve real support when they are in need of it most, and the Law Tigers is the resource riders can turn to when they're in need. Now, you see them everywhere. You see them out at all the events. You see the vans, you see the tents, you certainly see the billboards. They're out there supporting all of the clubs, all of the shops. Law Tigers are always there by your side. And the beauty of what they do with your case is your evaluation. The case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. They don't get paid until you get paid. And they're going to help you get your bike repaired, replaced. Same goes for your equipment. They are there for you. You never ride alone with Law Tigers. Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at PCF Construction. If you're seeking a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, maybe a new deck, patio cover, railings, well, my friends at PCF have you covered. This summer, well, you can enjoy 12 months of no interest and no payments. And how about this? Plus 50% off a design and architectural drawing package, or up to $5,000 off an undercover system. If you're looking at your outside and saying, golly, what a beautiful summer in the Pacific Northwest, and we can't take advantage of it, well, take advantage of these offers today. If you've been wanting that new deck, that new patio cover, make the call. Get online right now and connect with my friends at PCF. You can find all the offer details. You can get project ideas, and you can browse photos at pcfgroup.com or call today at 425-629-8476. Don't let this offer pass you by. It's 425-629-8476.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ichiro Hall of Fame weekend is officially on deck at T-Mobile Park. Limited tickets remain for Saturday's number retirement night with the special pregame ceremony set for 6 p.m. Plus, don't miss out on must-have giveaways. Friday's game at 6:40 is Ichiro Jersey Night, with the first 20,000 fans scoring a 2004 jersey, thanks to Sato. And capping things off on Sunday is a replica plaque day at 1:10, available to the first 20,000 fans. Get your tickets before it's too late at mariners.com/Ichiro.
The home of the Mariners.
Lift off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No, no place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up at 3 o'clock, Isaiah Stanback will join us, talk some NFL with him. Meanwhile, text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. Yankees hung on. They beat the Rangers today 3-2, snapped their 5-game losing streak. Taking a look at the teams that are around the Mariners and have an impact on the Mariners, whether it's the division or the wild card race. So you've got a half-game lead on the Yankees now for that wild card spot. Right now, the Marlins lead the Astros. That would be really helpful if they could at least take this game from them, because they've done bupkis in the first two. So we need them with the Mariners sitting 3 games back in the AL West. They're 2.5 games behind the Red Sox for the top wild card spot. They've got the half-game lead on the Yankees for that number 2 spot and a 2-game lead on the Rangers currently. So those are the teams you keep an eye on. We need Boston to start to fade.
Yes.
That would be great. I'm still the goal, again, it's the division. You want the division, but just looking at, all right, what's the next best case scenario? You want that number 1 wild card spot and work your way down. So right now the Red Sox have a 2.5 game lead for that. And it's just fun to watch them lose anyway because they deserve it. So Astros and Red Sox, I derived the most joy from watching them lose and bad things happening to them.
Well, and it's, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, obviously it's going to help the Mariners, but also it's 2 teams that are probably the most hated. Looks like they just locked up Roman Anthony to an 8-year, $130 million deal.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
I don't think he got called up until like June.
And that's a really young team, right? I mean, a lot of young guys there. So, yeah, just wish for pain for the Red Sox and the Houston Astros. I don't know. The Astros, there's part of me that is like, I feel like this is going to come to an end at some point, like the injuries and everything. I mean, I guess they'll only get better, but I don't know. It just seems like they're able to hang on with a lot of bad stuff going around. But I don't know. I'm still fine with them getting in as a wild card. That's all I care about, because I think once they get in the playoffs, they're a team that's going to be built for the playoffs. But, I don't know. It just seems like every time we think Houston is going to tank, something happens and they find a way to, I don't know, cheat their way out of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, they get Miami, who in all is not a great team. They were hot coming into this, but they got to go on the road and face New York after this Miami series. So maybe New York's feeling better about things. They got to win today. Maybe they start to play a little bit better, and they can help by beating up on the Astros, who then go to take on Boston, but that'll be at home. And I guess you got to root for Boston in that case, which feels dirty. I don't feel clean doing that. But if we're going division, you want them to sweep. It's going to strengthen their lead, obviously, in their wild card spot. But if it helps you get that division, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'll bite the bullet and pull tepidly for the Boston Red Sox in that series. What a conflict. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know they got in a little scuffle the other day about, signaling pitches or whatever, and it was just kind of funny. It was the fact that the two teams that are most known for cheating are involved in a little dust-up like that. I thought that was precious.
Who was that? Was that Hector Neris that was on the hill?
It was.
For that one?
It always is. But yeah,
that guy's just what's his? He's the one that was barking at Julio that time he struck him out, and Julio's looking at him like, "What the hell is your problem?"
Yeah.
And he was like, just losing his mind, barking at him. I mean,
and he threw a bunch of slurs at him. And
supposedly,
stuff.
But it appears he's just kind of a clown, and he's keeping up that behavior. So yeah, I think in that game, didn't he balk on purpose to get the runner from second to third?
He did.
Yeah,
he dropped the ball. Right,
and then he started barking at the guy walking off the field. I guess the third base coach or whatever. I just somebody would check his chin for him. I think he's got that coming. Every once in a while, Dave, somebody needs a good reset.
They need to be tuned up.
They need a reset.
Is that where you wish? And it wouldn't matter because it's the American League anyway. But you kind of wish like pitchers still hit.
Yeah,
where if the pitcher, then they have to be accountable.
See
for
Neris step in there. All right, dig in, Chubbs. Let's see how you do here. Yeah, he's just that guy, I guess. But it's we'll see what goes on with this race. It's compelling, and this is all I've wanted. I wanted, if the Mariners aren't going to run away with it, then I love the drama. I love the nightly check of the scoreboard. And all right, where are the standings now? Okay, they gained a half game, they lost a half game, they're up a game, they're down a game. Just that to me is part of the fun of this. And having that many teams that close together where you're all impacting each other. And I would imagine fans in Houston and Boston and Texas are all looking at what the Mariners are doing and what did the Yankees do and that's what you do. That's the fun of it. And it changes nightly.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got the Guardians in the mix as well, and also the Rangers, of course, right there. But I don't know, that's one team that I like a number of their players. I have a hard time getting mad at the Cleveland Guardians, but man, having the Yankees and Red Sox and Houston to chase, it's just like the days back in the NFC West with Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll. I mean, it was just like the greatest sports hate ever, and I think that it's actually surpassed that, the hatred for Houston here in Seattle, that I think that's a bigger deal and that it's lasted longer. I mean, obviously, they're not going to keep doing it just because it's the 49ers. It was more about the personalities of Pete versus Jim Harbaugh, but this is just an organizational thing.
Yeah.
Organizational hatred.
Yeah, and that was a rivalry because both teams were good, and Harbaugh made it easy, and it was easy to dislike him. Now you got a team that cheated and won a World Series and really showed no remorse when it comes to the players, and they didn't suffer a speck of a penalty. So I think baseball fans, not Mariner fans, just baseball fans in general, have an issue with that as you hear these guys booed around the league in every park they're in, whether it's Springer, playing for the Blue Jays, or when Correa was on the Twins and now he's back with the Astros. But even though these guys left the organization, they were being booed in all these other cities because baseball fans don't forget, that you were part of that, and they handled it so poorly. So Major League Baseball handled it poorly. The Astros players handled it really poorly, which allowed it to drag on to the point it has now. And now they've been good for quite a while, and the Mariners are good. So now you got that rivalry we were longing for forever. There were no teams. There might be teams you hated just because I'm sick of the Yankees. I hate the Yankees or the Red Sox.
All right.
They weren't a rival. You didn't have that, and now you've got it. That's the best.
Yeah,
I love it. And with the Seahawks, you face the 49ers twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'd see them in the playoffs, but you had them twice. You're seeing the Astros all year. You had 3 games here, 3 games there, 4 games here. So
12 to 15.
There's a lot of interaction. There's a lot of interaction between the two teams. So
and for people, when you see it in other Major League Baseball cities, you'll hear the booing. I remember when Toronto was playing in Buffalo, they were getting on, I think it was Springer at that point. But, remember when we talked to Marco Gonzalez about Houston and how he's like, I mean, this is everything to me, knowing what pitch comes next. And I think it was just such a, I don't know, for the baseball purists particularly, it was just such a big deal. And it is a huge deal what they did. And you're right, they never did really pay for it. So,
I mean, the organization did in the way of fine and draft picks, what have you, but the players, nothing. Not a moment of suspension, not a penny of a fine, nothing. So Rob Manfred blew that. They handled it poorly, and the players were even worse.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And you can't sit there and say, well, I mean, you still got to hit it. I mean, you ask anybody in Major League Baseball, it's like the biggest mystery by far in any sport.
Yeah.
Is what pitch is coming.
All right, coming up, we got plenty to ask this guy about everything happening around the NFL. Isaiah Stanback is going to join us next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Blue 88, every day at 7:45 on Brock and Salk.
What are you hearing with these young Seahawks?
Yeah, the words I continue to hear, betting on themselves. They're betting on themselves because these college kids are coming into the league with millions, But if you're Kobe Bryant, are you going to say, hey, man, on this defense, I'm going to be a great player. I'm going to go to the market, and I'm going to have 31 other teams bidding for me rather than taking it now.
Blue 88 on Seattle Sports. Get the podcast on the Seattle Sports app.
IRG Physical and Hand Therapy doesn't just treat injuries, they elevate athletes. From weekend warriors to elite competitors, IRG Sports Institute clinics are built for performance, blending top-tier physical therapy with advanced sports science and personalized training plans. Hey, Brock Hewitt here with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist and owner of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Why? Why elevate athletes as well?
Because here at IRG, Brock, our motto is we want you to be your best self, your best physical self, your best mental self, and your best community self. At our new IRG Fremont Sports Institute, we're providing that type of care. We've